Train your mind to be calm in every situation. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is control. When chaos surrounds you, the one who remains calm always wins. The world is full of noise, pressure, stress, doubt, hate, competition. It tries to break you, provoke you, make you lose your center. But those who rise to the top don't panic. They calculate. They don't scream, they strategize. They don't overreact, they observe and respond. Calmness is a weapon, and only those who train their mind to stay calm in the fire dominate the fire. When everyone else is losing their composure, the calm one becomes the leader. That's the difference between being average and being unforgettable. Calmness doesn't mean you don't feel pressure. It means you master it. You turn it into focus. You turn chaos into clarity. You turn fear into action. Because when you can control your mind, you can control your outcome. Pressure is a privilege. Pressure is not your enemy. It is your proving ground. When you feel pressure, it means you are in a position that matters. The weak crumble because they see pressure as punishment. The strong thrive because they see pressure as a privilege. When you feel that weight on your chest, when the world starts watching, when the moment feels too big, that's the sign you are exactly where you need to be. Most people run from pressure because it exposes them. It strips away the mask and shows who is truly ready. But you must train your mind to welcome it, breathe into it, accept it as your training partner. Pressure isn't there to crush you, it's there to mold you. The storm is loud because it wants your attention, but you don't need to dance to its tune. You don't need to rush, to panic, to prove. You need to stand still, calm, collected. That's where the real winners live, in the space between chaos and decision. When the crowd screams, when time is running out, when the clock feels like it's mocking you, pressure will whisper lies. It will say you're not ready. It will say you're going to fail, but you don't argue with it. You prove it wrong by staying calm. Calmness under pressure is not about removing fear, it's about mastering fear. It's about knowing that fear is only a signal that this moment matters. And if it matters, then you better rise to it. There will always be those who fold when it counts. They complain about the weight. They shrink when the spotlight hits them. That is not you. You will not treat pressure like a threat. You will treat it like a gift. Every great performance, every unforgettable achievement comes with pressure tied to it. The question is, are you willing to carry it without letting it break you? Calmness is the armor that lets you do that. Pressure is a test, and tests are passed not with noise, but with presence. Can you stand still when everything moves fast? Can you think when everyone else is losing their mind? That is where calmness separates the extraordinary from the average. If you train your mind to look at pressure as a doorway instead of a wall, you will always walk through it. You will not wait for the storm to pass. You will become the eye of the storm. Calmness under pressure builds trust. People look at you differently when you can stand tall in chaos. They follow you, they depend on you, and more importantly, they respect you. There will be moments when your hands shake, when your heart pounds, when your vision narrows. Those are the moments where calmness must win. It is not given. It is built, rehearsed, strengthened through every trial. Pressure demands a reaction, but you choose the pace. The world says hurry, you say hold. The world says panic, you say breathe. The world says it's over, you say watch me. The calm mind under pressure doesn't look for the easiest move, it looks for the right one, because the right move doesn't come from panic. It comes from patience. Pressure is a privilege because it means you matter. And when you matter, you have something to win and something to protect. Calmness is how you win both. Train yourself to find silence in noise, to find clarity in heat, to find calmness in the storm. Because pressure will always come, but panic is optional. Emotional control wins battles. Emotions are powerful. They can fuel you or they can finish you. The difference lies in control. Those who let emotions drive their decisions often crash because emotions are fast, chaotic, and impulsive. Calmness, on the other hand, is the gatekeeper. It allows emotions to exist, but it doesn't allow them to command. When anger rises, it wants to speak first. When fear comes, it wants to shut everything down. When frustration knocks, it wants to take the wheel. But if you train your mind to stay calm, you let those emotions pass like storms while you remain the mountain. You cannot eliminate emotions. They are part of being human. But you can decide how to respond. Emotional control means you don't react. You respond with purpose. There's a difference between reacting and responding. One is reflex, the other is intelligence. Calmness is the ability to pause even when your blood is boiling. It is the ability to breathe when everything in you screams to explode. That pause is where power lives. That pause is where legends are made. Think about the last time you lost your composure. What did it cost you? A moment of anger can destroy a season of progress. A word said in rage can burn a bridge you spent years building. That's the price of losing emotional control. Calmness does not mean you are emotionless. It means you choose the right moment to express it. There is a time to roar, but only when roaring wins the war, not when it feeds your ego. The calm mind turns anger into fuel, not fire. It turns fear into focus, not paralysis. It turns frustration into strategy, not surrender. That's why the calm win more often, because they don't waste energy on explosions. You must remember, every situation is testing your composure. People will try to provoke you. Circumstances will try to shake you, but your job is to remain steady because emotional chaos is contagious. So is emotional control. When you stay calm, you disarm the chaos around you. You stop the chain reaction. You become the one others look at when everything falls apart because you didn't fall apart. Calmness is not about being soft. It's about being so strong inside that nothing outside can force you to break character. You lead your emotions. You do not let them lead you. Even in your victories, remain calm, because too much excitement can blind you to the next step. Emotional control keeps you balanced. Never too high to lose focus, never too low to lose hope. There will be times when your emotions feel justified, when reacting feels like the only way. But that's the moment you must double down on calmness, because reacting may feel good now, but it rarely wins long term. The ones who win consistently are not the most emotional. They are the most composed. They can feel deeply, but they decide wisely. They can get hit emotionally, but they don't let the hit decide the outcome. Train your mind to carry emotions like you carry fire. In a controlled container, uncontrolled it burns everything, controlled it lights the way. Preparation builds calmness. Calmness is not born in the moment. It is built long before the moment arrives. The reason most people panic is not because the situation is too big. It is because they were too lazy to prepare for it. Preparation is the foundation of calmness. It gives you the confidence that no matter what comes, you've already faced it in some form. You cannot expect your mind to remain steady in chaos if you've never trained it in peace. The hours you spend preparing when no one is watching are the hours that pay you back when everyone is watching. Preparation gives you the quiet assurance that you belong in the moment. Think about a soldier who walks into battle without training. Every noise feels like a threat. Every shadow feels like an attack. Now think about the one who is trained relentlessly. Every sound is familiar. Every challenge is expected. That's the power of preparation. Calmness under fire comes from knowing you have rehearsed the fire. You've studied the pressure. You face the failures in private so you can stand firm in public. Most people crumble not because they lack talent, but because they lack preparation. The calm mind doesn't ask, "What if I fail?" It asks, "Have I done the work?" Because when you've done the work, failure doesn't shake you. It sharpens you. You see every obstacle as a scenario you've already trained for. Preparation is not glamorous. It's repetition, discipline, sacrifice. It's doing the same thing over and over until it becomes muscle memory. Calmness is just the outward appearance of that inward discipline. When you're prepared, pressure feels like an invitation, not a threat. It feels like a stage, not a trap. That's why some people love the big moments. They've rehearsed them when no one cared. You can't fake calmness. The body knows when it's unprepared, and fear is its language. But when you've trained, when you've studied, when you've sacrificed, the body and the mind work together to keep you steady. There will be times when life throws you something unexpected. Preparation doesn't eliminate the unknown, but it builds the reflex to adapt. You won't panic, you'll adjust. Calmness in competition, in crisis, in chaos. It's always rooted in the hours before the event. So if you want to stay calm when it matters, put in the work when it doesn't. Preparation also builds trust in yourself. That inner voice that says, "You've done this. You're ready." That voice only speaks if you've given it something to say. Without preparation, the only voice you hear is doubt. You must fall in love with the boring work, the early mornings, the late nights, the study, the practice, because that is where calmness is manufactured. It is a byproduct of discipline. Every great champion looks calm in the spotlight, but the truth is, they earned that calmness in the dark. They trained until the pressure felt like routine. So train until you don't have to think about calmness. Train until it becomes who you are: steady, focused, unshakable. Preparation isn't just about skill, it's about stability. Silence is strength. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. In a world that screams for attention, those who remain calm and quiet control the rhythm. They are not absent, they are calculating. Silence is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time without wasting energy on noise. When you speak out of panic, you reveal your weakness. When you shout without strategy, you give away your position. Calmness teaches you the art of patience, and silence is one of its sharpest tools. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. It is the one who observes quietly, stores information, and strikes with precision. You don't always need to answer immediately. You don't always need to prove you're right. The need to be heard is often a sign of insecurity. The ability to stay silent is a sign of mastery. It means you're not controlled by the noise around you. Silence lets others show their cards while you keep yours close. It creates space for truth to reveal itself, while everyone else is arguing, defending, explaining. You are watching, learning, preparing. That is a form of calmness most will never understand. Calm people know that reaction is expensive. It drains energy, focus, and clarity. Silence is a shield against chaos. It protects your mind from being dragged into battles that don't deserve your presence. Think about how many mistakes are made when people rush to speak, rush to respond, rush to prove their point. Silence prevents that. It creates a pause between emotion and decision. That pause can save you from 1,000 unnecessary wars. There will be moments when provocation is deliberate, when people push you just to get a reaction. That's when silence becomes your weapon, not because you have nothing to say, but because you refuse to give your energy to foolishness. Calmness paired with silence commands respect. People listen more when you speak less, because your words become rare, deliberate, meaningful. They carry weight because they are not wasted. Silence also helps you hear what others miss. In the noise, details disappear, but in silence, patterns emerge. You begin to see what's really happening, not what people want you to think is happening. Many confuse silence with weakness, but true silence is discipline. It takes strength to hold back words, to hold back reactions, to wait for the right moment. Weakness is reacting out of impulse. Strength is choosing stillness. Silence is also a teacher. It teaches you to listen to yourself. It teaches you to listen to the environment. It teaches you to listen to timing. The calm mind doesn't rush, it synchronizes. In the biggest moments of life, silence often precedes the breakthrough. It is the calm before the decisive strike. It is the space where the next move is born. Learn to master silence not as absence of voice, but as presence of mind. Let others waste their breath. You preserve your power. Let others argue. You conserve your clarity. Silence is strength because it allows you to operate on your terms, not theirs. It allows you to decide when to engage and when to disappear. Calmness lives there, in the quiet, where real power gathers. Focus on the controllable chaos always begins where focus ends. Most people lose their calm because they give their energy to things they can never control. They worry about opinions, outcomes, circumstances, timing, everything except their own effort and response. Calmness starts when you stop feeding the uncontrollable. You cannot command the weather, but you can prepare for the storm. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you carry yourself. The calm mind draws a line between what is influence and what is noise, and it walks on the side of influence. Focusing on the controllable is discipline. It means you do not waste a second on what doesn't bend to your will. You invest in what you can shape, your attitude, your preparation, your decisions, your work ethic. Every minute you spend chasing what you can't control is a minute you steal from what you can. That theft leads to frustration, and frustration leads to panic. But calmness grows when you redirect that energy inward toward what is truly yours. Think of the last time you were overwhelmed. How much of it came from things outside your reach? The market, the clock, the whispers of people, the fear of the unknown. None of these obey your command, but your next step does. Calmness is clarity. It says, I can't move the mountain, but I can take the next step. And step by step, the mountain stops feeling so big. That's the essence of control, not having power over everything, but having mastery over yourself. When life tightens its grip, the calm mind doesn't try to break free by force. It finds the levers it can move. It looks for the doors that are unlocked instead of pounding on the ones that are closed. Focusing on the controllable also protects your energy. Panic wastes it. Complaining drains it. Calmness preserves it for action. When you control your focus, you control your strength. There will always be noise telling you to look elsewhere, to worry, to doubt, to react. But you are not here to chase shadows. You are here to create movement with what's in your hands. The world respects the one who can stand in the storm and say, this is outside my power, but I will master what is inside it. That presence is not passive. It is active patience. Calmness isn't about ignoring reality. It's about accepting it, filtering it, and deciding what part of it deserves your effort. Most don't have that filter. They drown in information, in worry, in the endless chase of things they can never fix. Focus on what you can control, and you begin to shape the outcome without even touching the chaos. You influence it from within, not by wrestling with it, but by anchoring yourself. When your mind tries to run in 100 directions, pull it back. Ask yourself, what can I do right now? That question builds calmness. That question builds action. Every great achievement is built on 1,000 small controllable choices. Master them, and the uncontrollable begins to lose its grip. You stop chasing the wind and start steering the ship. Master your breathing. Master your mind. Breathing is the bridge between chaos and calm. It is the most powerful tool you carry everywhere, yet most ignore it until panic steals it. When the pressure rises, when your heart pounds, when your thoughts start to race, your breath becomes your anchor. If you control it, you control the moment. In tense situations, the first thing to collapse is usually your breathing. It becomes shallow, erratic, rushed. That is the body preparing to flee, to fight, to freeze. But a calm mind recognizes this pattern and reverses it. Deep, steady breathing tells the body we are safe. We are in command. Breathing is not just oxygen. It is rhythm, and rhythm is what chaos tries to break. The calm mind rebuilds that rhythm one breath at a time until the noise outside matches the stillness inside. You must train your breathing before the storm comes. Slow it down in your daily routines, during your work, in moments of discomfort. Teach your body that control is always an option, even when pressure rises. A single deep breath can interrupt 1,000 impulsive actions. It creates a pause, and in that pause lies your power. The power to choose rather than react. The power to calculate rather than collapse. Calmness is often one breath away. The problem is, most never take that breath. They rush past it. They ignore it. They surrender to the rush of adrenaline. But those who master their breathing master their entry point to focus. Breathing also centers your mind in the present. Anxiety pulls you to the future. Regret drags you to the past. But breath lives only in the now, and the now is the only place where control exists in every field: sports, business, battle, art. The elite know how to breathe under pressure. Not because they are superhuman, but because they practiced it until it became instinct. Breathing doesn't fix the problem. It fixes you so you can fix the problem. It slows the chaos enough for you to see the path forward, the opening, the next move. There will be moments when you feel your chest tighten, your mind spin, your hands tremble. That is the signal. Return to your breath. Anchor yourself. One deep breath, then another, until calmness returns like a tide. You do not need complex rituals, you need awareness. Notice your breathing in the small moments, so you can command it in the critical ones. That's how calmness becomes your default under pressure. Breathing is a conversation with your mind. Fast, shallow breath says panic. Slow, deep breath says power. Which one will you speak when the world demands a reaction? The calm do not deny their nerves, they regulate them. They meet tension with breath, not with haste. They create space in seconds, and in that space they take control. Master your breathing, and you will master the storm. Because the storm begins inside you, and the breath is your first and strongest weapon. Detach from the moment to own the moment. The ones who panic are the ones who are too close to the noise. They see only the next second, the next hit, the next shout. Detachment is not apathy, it is clarity. It means you step back far enough to see the whole field, to understand the game beyond the play. Calmness is not just staying still, it is rising above. When you detach, you stop being a pawn in the chaos and start becoming the one who sees the board. The moment no longer owns you, you own it. Detachment is difficult because ego wants to win now. It wants to react, to prove, to answer. But calmness whispers, step back. See the whole picture. Choose the move, not the mood. In heated moments, the mind becomes narrow. It locks onto threats, mistakes, doubts. Detachment widens that lens. It shows you what matters and what doesn't. It shows you what can be done rather than what has been lost. You can't detach if you are desperate for approval. You can't detach if you are addicted to reaction. Calmness requires a level of discipline that says, I will not let the moment decide for me. Think of the archer who pulls the arrow back, but does not release until the target aligns. Detachment is that pullback. It is the refusal to rush the shot. It is the patience that creates precision. When you detach, you stop fighting the chaos directly. You start outsmarting it. You don't meet emotion with emotion. You meet it with vision. Detachment also protects your energy. Every reaction costs you something. Time, strength, attention. Calmness through detachment means you spend that energy where it moves the needle, not where it feeds the noise. There will be times when detachment feels cold, when others will accuse you of not caring. But calmness is not about pleasing them, it's about leading the moment. Caring is not reacting. Caring is choosing wisely. Detach and you stop being a passenger. You become the driver. You see the traps before you step in them. You see the openings before they appear to the frantic. Calmness is a form of detachment that stays involved but not consumed. You play the game without letting the game play you. Detach from the outcome and you start controlling the process. Detach from the chaos and you start controlling the calm. That is how you own the moment. Calmness creates precision. Panic makes your hands shake. Panic clouds your decisions. Panic speeds your mind until it crashes. Calmness does the opposite. It slows you down just enough to act with accuracy. Every mistake made in chaos comes from haste, not weakness. The calm mind is not faster, it is sharper. It sees the same moment, but processes it without blur. Precision is the child of patience. You cannot hit the target while shaking the bow. You cannot make the right call when you're drowning in noise. Calmness clears the fog. When you are calm, you don't waste movements. You don't take 10 steps when 2 will do. You don't swing wildly. You strike once with purpose. Calmness also improves your timing. It lets you wait that extra second for the window to open. It lets you hold your position when everyone else rushes in and loses theirs. Precision wins more battles than speed. The world celebrates those who move fast, but history remembers those who hit their mark. Calmness makes you that person. A calm mind does not fear delay. It does not fear the quiet moment before the move. It understands that execution matters more than impression. In pressure, calmness lets you read the field, the patterns, the tells, the weak points. While others guess, you calculate. The difference between missing and making often comes down to one thing. Did you let panic guide your hand or calmness guide your aim? Calmness does not guarantee success, but it multiplies the chances. It turns a chaotic opportunity into a controlled strike. Precision is a result of being where you should be, when you should be, with your mind clear and your hand steady, and only calmness can create that state. Calmness is not the absence of pressure. It is the mastery of it. It is the skill that separates the ones who last from the ones who fade, the ones who lead from the ones who follow. Every moment of chaos is a test not of your talent, not of your speed, not of your noise, but of your composure. You have learned that pressure is a privilege. It is not there to destroy you. It is there to reveal you. You have understood that emotional control wins battles, because a loud mind is a lost mind. You have seen that preparation is the foundation of calmness. It builds the confidence to stand steady when others shake. You now know that silence is strength. It protects your focus and multiplies your influence. You have discovered that focusing on what you can control turns storms into strategy. You have practiced the power of breathing, because a steady breath is the first sign of a steady warrior. You have learned to detach from the moment, to see the game while others only see the play. And finally, you have realized that calmness creates precision, the kind of precision that wins when others break. Calmness is not passive, it is active discipline. It is not retreat, it is readiness. It is not being emotionless, it is being untouchable by the wrong emotions at the wrong time. There will always be storms, there will always be noise, there will always be eyes waiting for you to crack, to snap, to fail. Let them wait, because while they rush, you will breathe. While they panic, you will plan. While they fall apart, you will stand. Calmness is a choice you make every day, in the morning when you rise, in the heat when things turn against you, in the victory when emotions try to sweep you away. Choose calmness, not because the world is calm, but because you refuse to let it shake you. The calm mind builds an unshakable life, and that life doesn't react to every wave. It commands the ocean. Train your mind because the world will test it. Build your calmness because the chaos will come, and when it does, you won't flinch, you'll rise. This is your edge. This is your armor. This is your weapon. Calmness is not for the quiet. It is for the conquerors.